Captain Jalen Rourke believed he had seen everything the galaxy could offer. Rogue AI sieges, black hole cartels, even sentient nebulae obsessed with poetry, but nothing prepared him for Liraz Vesh. The Zyrethian Navigator stood 6.5 feet tall, with skin that shimmered between cobalt and obsidian, depending on the cabin lighting. She had 4 eyes, 2 forward-facing, 2 on the sides of her elongated temples, each flecked with shifting particles like gold dust caught in starlight. She wore the regulation flight uniform, but on her it looked like ceremonial armor, hugging her athletic frame as though the fabric revered her. She was silent, efficient, and aggressively calm. And Jalen found her absolutely terrifying. The war between the Human Federation and the Tri-Spiral Conglomerate had ended 1 month prior after a 60-year stalemate. Veterans like him were shuffled quietly into mixed-species diplomacy programs, as if decades of combat training would translate into table etiquette. He had been assigned to the diplomatic vessel Horizon's Promise as captain, though truthfully, he was more like a glorified chaperone for a scientific exchange crew. And Liraz had been assigned as his co-pilot. Their first week together consisted mostly of monosyllabic mission updates and terse acknowledgement clicks from her mandible-like jaw hinge. But tonight felt different. They were alone on the bridge. Everyone else had gone into cryo or recreation stasis for the 3-week drift ahead. And Liraz kept staring at him. Not the usual quick glances to ensure he wasn't about to crash into a rogue asteroid. No. This was an evaluation. A prolonged, unblinking observation. Finally, she spoke. Captain Rourke. Query, human bonding protocols. What are the formal steps preceding pair formation? Sorry. Jalen blinked. Pair formation? Correct. She swiveled her chair toward him with deliberate slowness. Courtship. Spousal imprinting. Reproductive synchronization. The semantics may vary. Jalen nearly choked on his coffee bulb. Why are you asking? Instead of answering, she stood up, her boots thudding softly on the deck. She crossed the bridge in 3 strides and stopped inches from him. You emit high levels of stress hormones when near me, she observed. Elevated pulse. Dilated pupils. Behavioral data suggests fear. Cross-reference data suggests attraction. Jalen froze. She reached out with one long, elegant hand and rested 2 fingers beneath his chin, cool and smooth like polished stone. Clarify, she said. Is it fear or attraction? Jalen opened his mouth, then closed it, then opened it again like a malfunctioning airlock. Both, he finally croaked. She smiled, or rather, smirked. It was subtle, predatory, amused, acceptable. Then she turned and walked toward the corridor. Jalen exhaled, realizing only then that he'd been holding his breath. But as she reached the entrance to her quarters, she paused, glanced over her shoulder, and spoke in a low, lilting cadence that made his spine tingle. It's just the 2 of us here, Alien Navigator smirked, closing the door to her cabin. Jalen stood alone on the bridge for another full minute before realizing he was gripping the edge of the console so hard his knuckles had gone white. Should he follow her? Was that an invitation? Or a threat? Both, his mind offered unhelpfully. He paced the bridge once. Twice. He considered going to cryo. He considered ejecting himself into space. Finally, he muttered, You're a decorated war veteran, Captain. You faced down plasma dragons on Vega Prime. You can handle a hot alien asking if you want a pair formation. He took a deep breath and walked toward her cabin. The door slid open before he could knock. Dim violet lighting washed over him, casting the room in soft, pulsing shadows. The scent of something floral, yet metallic, hung in the air. Liraz reclined on a seating platform draped in what looked like woven star silk. She sat with one knee raised, arms resting casually behind her. Regal, relaxed, in utter control. You came, she said simply. You left the door unlocked, Jalen replied, unsure why that mattered. It would have opened regardless. What does that mean? She tilted her head. Human architecture relies on permission constructs. Zyrethian architecture recognizes intent signatures. You intended entry. Therefore, entry was granted. That's incredibly invasive. She lifted one brow ridge. And yet efficient. He took a cautious step inside. Captain, she said, I have observed human interaction patterns extensively. I wish to confirm something. She rose and approached him, her movements fluid like drifting gravity. I wish to know you beyond tactical performance. Jalen swallowed. Like professionally? Like intimately. There it was. No misunderstanding now. His heart hammered, but not from fear. Why me? He asked quietly. You do not flinch when startled, she said. You brace. You adapt. You do not avert your gaze when I speak. You do not speak needlessly. Your mind is disciplined. Your spirit is resolute. Your symmetry is satisfactory. Satisfactory, he echoed with faint offense. If you prefer pleasing. That works. She studied him another second. Reciprocity query. Do you wish to know me intimately? Jalen inhaled slowly. Yes. The room's air pressure seemed to change, or perhaps that was just the rush of adrenaline in his veins. She lifted her hand again, this time touching the side of his face, fingers tracing the edge of his jaw. Her skin was smooth but cool, like ceramic warmed just faintly by the sun. I must warn you, she whispered. Zyrethian pair bonding is not a passive ritual. It is immersive. Define immersive. She leaned in, her breath a whisper of ozone. You will feel what I feel. He shivered. Do you wish to proceed? She asked. Jalen met all four of her eyes. Yes. She placed her forehead gently against his. His mind exploded, not in pain but in sensation. He saw flashes, memories that weren't his. Liraz as a child, navigating the frozen glaciers of Zyrith Prime. Her first flight exam. Spear duels in the Vortex Colosseums. Loneliness. Pride. Determination. Emotions pulsed through him like electric tides. Then she drew back, watching his reaction. Too much, she asked softly. No, he breathed. More. She smiled fully now. Brace. Hours passed, maybe minutes, maybe centuries. Time warped beneath the intensity of shared memory and sensation. Words became obsolete. Silence became sacred. But as the intensity eased, they found themselves sitting side by side, shoulders touching, breathing steadily in sync. Jalen stared up at the ceiling. I thought you didn't like humans, he said. I do not like most, she admitted. They are loud, fragile, chaotic. But you are measured. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. She nudged him lightly with her elbow. Do not become arrogant. He laughed. Then silence again, but comfortable this time. Eventually she spoke. Our species do not form temporary bonds. This is now permanent. He blinked. Permanent as in? As in until death. He sat upright. You probably should have led with that. She looked at him with amused patience. Would you have declined? He paused, then shook his head. No. She nodded, satisfied. Then no issue. He rubbed his face. So, we're married? Equivalent. He groaned. My crew is going to lose their minds. That is irrelevant, she said. They will adapt. He sighed. Guess I will too.